The American athletes came here halfway around the world during our winter to row. Some back home must have thought they were crazy, maybe others brilliant, or maybe both. The first thing for them to learn was how to get on with it.
So during the winter period, we've got a high performance rowing centre which is joint with Rowing New Zealand, and it's about training the athletes through the winter months, doing some long hard Ks, decent weight resistance program. It's all supervised by our high performance coach. Yeah, it's a pretty serious deal.
I really wanted to experience a different attitude and approach to rowing in the boathouse. Not only rowing, but coaching. I wanted to see how they trained here.
The first impression would have come from my feet, actually. We walked barefoot down to the wet launch. It was very cold. It was very, very cold.
The weather, I think, is going to make this program. Having it not be super nice all the time and having to deal with elements and wet launch and freezing water, maybe we can gain some of the toughness of the Kiwi athletes.
The discipline of our athletes to be getting up at 5:30 in the morning in the cold, sometimes it's absolutely freezing, but they get on with it. They're on the water for 6, they get their 16 to 20 Ks done, they're getting off the water in the dark, and they're away to a lecture for 8 o'clock. That's what life is here, and it's reality. And I really hope that's something that the US athletes can really benefit from, is that discipline.
With you could come forward, come up.
The goal is to get faster, but they're also trying to develop you as a rower and as a person. They're working with me individually on all the little things on the water and on the erg. It's a lot better here. It's a lot more individualized here.
It's just freedom. You go out, you're in a boat, and you have to make that thing go faster than you've ever made it go before. And you're given the tools. The coach gives you the tools and puts tools in your basket to make changes to what you're doing. If I could put a big mirror out here beside the speedboat, then hang the mirror up, have a look at the mirror, fellas, and you make the changes. That's all I am. I'm just reflecting to them what I see. That's all I'm doing. Nothing more than that.
University rowing requires independence and maturity. Those are the things the athletes can hope to take back to America. Of course, New Zealand is good at providing those things.
Safety was a concern for me in sending Ryan, and that's one of the reasons why I traveled with him. Having traveled with him, having seen the airport, the town, having seen the transportation, having seen the living arrangements, I feel completely comfortable that I would not have to travel with him again, and without a doubt, I would send him again. We expected a hard rowing program, we expected great training. We did not expect the amazing coaching, the amazing example and development of the person that I find here.
There are also other ways to grow personal independence and maturity.
The Special Olympians have been training with us for the past 12 years. Our high performance athletes training alongside them on the erg, helping coach them. It gives everyone a real sense of belonging to the overall program. Training as Special Olympians is my most favourite session of the week. They're doing up to 40 minutes non-stop on the erg, and most of all, they're probably the most grateful people for that training. It's changed the perspective of a lot of my athletes on their own training. They see my Special Olympian athletes training so hard and enjoying it, and it really rubs off on them.
There's toughness that they endure every day. They get on with it, and I think that it rubs off on our kids.
Rowing 30,000 meters this morning was definitely a change in what I've been used to. Probably the most that we've done was 15 or 16,000 meters in a day. They definitely have noticed that putting in the meters translates to, performing better, and that's exactly what they're doing. This is a 6-week introduction to becoming a collegiate rower. You're in a high-performance training center, and they expect the best of you, and that's exactly what college coaches are looking for too.
What's the world record for a prone hold? You know. 90 minutes. 90. It's interesting, just from what I've seen, there's issues of flexibility and issues of core strength. And they seriously struggled just at the short time we did core stuff this morning. In a rowing boat, you don't balance with your feet, you balance with your core. That's what we've primarily been doing with these high performance guys in the gym, is working on the core.
They're training harder, at a higher volume, at a higher level than they ever have. They're being broken down to their core on a near daily basis. They're pushing themselves further than they thought they could. And they're loving it. Why? Because we aim to give them a cohesive understanding of all things rowing. From weights to nutrition, to mental skills that develop a strong mind. But it all truly adds up to them finding enjoyment themselves, inside and outside the sport.
So we're about to do some bungee jumping here.
You'd rather be a glad I did than a wish I had, so I'm gonna be a glad I did.
The training we do here in New Zealand is predominantly in small boats, singles, pairs, doubles. We look to do long Ks, up to 20 Ks a day.
You put a sculler in a rowboat and they'll pick it up very, very quickly. And they'll pick up the feeling of the boat very, very quickly because they're used to sitting in a single or a double or a quad. So they pick up the boat movement and the feel of the boat so much faster than what just an ordinary rower would pick up. But you put a rower in a single scull and you watch them sit there wobble about and tip about and trying to get their blades in the water, and they can't do it.
I mean, the athletes here basically just kind of like playing around in this freezing cold water and go out in singles in water that's so rough we wouldn't go out in eights at home. I was actually out the other day in a single in some rough water that would be considered rough for eights at home. And I sat there and I was thinking, wow, you know, that's like a pretty big change. It's like the first day I got here, I wouldn't dream of going out in a single in that.
The single and the pair are the ultimate boat. You get a single going along yourself and you can feel exactly what you are doing to the boat. If it goes good, it's because of you. If it goes bad, it's because of you. At times you can get very, very lost within an eight and allow others to take control. You lose that control yourself.
The time that they're in the single is really analogous to their time here. They're growing in their independence and their awareness and their understanding of the sport. And I think that that in itself is a beautiful picture of what's happening in New Zealand as a whole.
One of my big expectations was a lower 2K score. But then I slowly started to realize, you know, I'm going to New Zealand, there's a lot more to it than just that. The 2K just kind of faded to the back of my mind.
The highlight of my entire trip was the conversation I had with Ryan, where he said to me, "Mom, you know, I don't have to go to practice in the morning. I go there because I want to." And I feel like he's found his motivation.
I've learned how to row a single. I've rowed in a double for the first time, rowed in a pair for the first time, rowed in a coxless four for the first time. And I think that's something I've really gained here is a huge independence. I think they like to see an athlete who doesn't need the coaching to push themselves and is willing to push themselves on a day-to-day basis, whether they're training for a race or whether they're training to train.
It turns out that, much like rowing, when you're willing to go beyond expectations, you gain far more than you ever thought possible.